Hi everyone. Yeah, I had a real rough week this week. As you can see, I got dark lines under my eyes from not sleeping. And I've been staying up doing artwork and stuff, trying to catch up because, excuse me, we got a 3-month missionary trip outside of the US, so I'm just trying to catch everything up and make sure things are in order before I leave. Hey, but guess what? Today, everything went so perfect. We went to this nursing, well, they call them nursing homes, but the politically correct word is long-term care centers. Well, we went there because we had set up through one of my godmothers this contact where we can have Bible studies today. Today is my real mother's birthday. She passed away in 2008. So I have a tendency to call people who I'm affectionate about that are older than 75 my godmother. So this is one of them. She set it up, and this elder named Elder Antoine, he has a ministry he started called SALT Ministry, SALT. I think it stands for Salvation and Enlightenment Temple, concerning what we eat, our keeping our temple cleansed physically, and spiritually. Well, he led the Bible study, and God really used him. I was worried. Well, I learned about 3 weeks to a month ago, and I'm used to giving one-on-one Bible studies. I haven't actually given, excuse me, and I'm talking about in 30 years, a Bible study as a group. Maybe that's something I need to work on. I need to start expanding past the one-on-one and to do group Bible studies. Well, online, I answer questions and things. If somebody texts me or call me or email me, I'll answer the biblical question. So, but it takes a certain type of person he was the right person for the right occasion, because he kept their attention. We're talking about older people who seem to drift off. I didn't see one person drift off, and they were interactive. They were commenting. They were the ones that could comment. This is special to me. I guess people wondering why I'm making such a big deal out of it. Because when people are at the end of their lives, society has a notion to just kick them to the side like they don't matter. Like how would I say it? Their usefulness has expired and they're just waiting to die. And God is so much not like that. God loves them. God loves all of us. But he loves them even more. Just like children are special in God's eyes, so are the elderly. It's a shame how we just kick them away to the side, throw them off on other people, like used trash waiting to be recycled. It's really dear to my heart, because to see people that were so strong and so independent, but as you age, your body breaks down. your mind breaks down. And these long-term care facilities are a great example of that. You know, we need to be more patient with the elderly. Elderly should be respected. I mean, they earn their keep. I mean, they spend their whole life working hard, trying to provide for their kids. Excuse me. So it just has been a very tiring weekend. Trying to provide for their kids, saving up riches. I mean, just to be put aside. And some of them do need extra help that maybe their family can't provide. But then at the same time, where do we draw the line? Where do we value these people the way they should be valued? I mean, these people have given their entire lives to making their kids' lives better, making society better, only to be thrown aside like waste material. It truly hurts me to my heart to see what we have done to our old people, our elderly. You know, and my heart goes out to them because a lot of them are in a position where they can't help themselves. When they could, they did. And even the kids sometimes ignore them. You know, they become like an afterthought. Oh yeah, I gotta go visit mom. Oh yeah, I gotta go deal with dad. Let me see if I can squeeze in 30 minutes, 20 minutes. I mean, and they're left to the activity director to provide meaning to their lives. You know, but the Bible study was so good because Ella Antoine talked about forgiveness. You know, that's one of my biggest things. Because if we don't learn to forgive people, it eats us up inside. It destroys our very being. It destroys our potential to what we could have been if we had spent less time focusing on how this person destroyed our lives, how this person broke our heart. You know, how God could have used us that much better to help other people instead of us wallowing in our sorrow. There's this verse in the Bible where Saul had disobeyed God for maybe the third time, and Samuel prayed all night because God told him to go to, I forgot what country that was, and destroy everybody. The women, the children, the king, the cattle, everybody. So Saul decided to spare the king and the cattle because people wanted it and thought it was good for them. So he just utterly disobeyed God. And then I think Samuel came and talked to him and said that obedience is better than sacrifice, right? Which is so true. Then on another occasion, he went and made a burnt offering before going into a battle, which was Samuel's job to do. And he told Samuel, since he waited so late and he didn't know if he was still coming, he decided to take that liberty to do it himself. And that was the last straw for Saul. God had had enough. Saul's problem was that he cared about more what people said than what God had commanded him to do. So Saul decided, Samuel spent all night praying for Saul, asking God for forgiveness and supplication on Saul's behalf, right? Well, Saul, God told Samuel the next day to go tell Saul. Well, probably that night too, but it was the next day when he went and did it, to go tell Saul that his kingdom is over, that God had found someone else that would obey him, that would follow his commands. But Saul had established a relationship with Samuel, and Samuel took Saul under his wing as a young man when Israel first wanted a king. And Saul was nothing. Saul had nobody. Saul was timid and shy, and God created in him a new heart. And Samuel prayed his way through things and instructed Saul and led Saul. But I'm pretty sure there were times that Saul did obey God. But on these occasions which he didn't, it was major. So God had enough. And God says, okay, I rejected, just like Saul rejected my words, I've rejected him. I'm going to take the kingdom from him, his kids, and I'm going to give it to another person. So he told him to get up and go anoint David. So he did. But my point is that the next day, on the way, God had told Samuel, he said, why are you still bothering over someone I have rejected? God had rejected Saul. Samuel's heart went out to Saul, but God rejected him. God knew what was best for his children, for their kingdom, and for Samuel. So it put Samuel in a bad position where he's the prophet. He has to be the bearer of bad news, right? But Samuel sorrowed for Saul a lot of days. But Samuel had to let go of that relationship that he had. He had nurtured Saul into the king that he was. If Saul had listened, he would have been a better king. And Samuel later told him that if he would have obeyed, his kingdom would have lasted forever through his family and throughout the lines. But because he had rejected God, and then he would be rejected, then Samuel went to turn away and walk away. And Saul ripped his the skirt of his mantle. And then Samuel gave him a double whammy. He said, see, like you have ripped part of my garment. God has ripped your kingdom out of your hand. Sometimes we have to let people go. Sometimes we have to, the people that are hurting us the most, because God doesn't want us to suffer. God doesn't want us to be in pain. God has a purpose for our lives, and he wants us to focus on that purpose to help bring it about, so that when he comes, we'll be ready to go with him. And for us to constantly focus, and I'm talking to myself too, because like my ex-boyfriend, with all his lies and things, and sometimes I still think about it, but I try to keep myself busy. I try to focus on that God has a bigger plan for my life, right? That this person chose to be an instrument for the devil use. I'm not saying he's the devil. The devil can use any of us. given a chance, he used the best Christians. Then he definitely used the worst ones. But I'm saying all this to get back to the sermon. He was preaching about forgiveness. A lot of people suffer through life. What if somebody done you something that you thought you didn't deserve, and you suffered all your life, or you done them something that they just blew out of proportion and held a grudge forever? And what if that person passed away, and now you're in your 70s still holding that grudge against that person, or still holding the guilt that person left on you, not giving you resolution? You have to resolve it. You have to give it to God, because if you don't, it's going to eat you up inside, and it's going to destroy you. I mean, the devil uses people to the point where he has family members not talking to family members. He has children not talking to mothers, and parents not talking to children. This was never in God's plan. The world, as we see it currently, is the world that Satan would have it. And even worse, if God's hand didn't prevent him from doing most of the things that he wants to do to us. He hates us. He wants to destroy us. And people always say that, well, how can God let people suffer? God doesn't let us suffer. It's the consequences of our choices most of the time. And sometimes you can go through a trial that God allows Satan to bring certain things in your life. And in the process, he helps strengthen your faith when you overcome those things. We all have a choice and a purpose. We have to choose to accept God's purpose for our life, or you have to choose not to. For a lot of us that chose not to, and we lived our life the way we wanted to, we ate what we wanted to, we drank what we want to, we partied, we did drugs, and then in the end, toward the end of our lives, our bodies are all torn up. I mean, our heart has given out. I mean, our lungs, there's infested with different diseases. Some people are born that way, I do agree. And some people develop it even though they have a good diet. But those are cases that are seldom in between. Most people that have bad health is from bad habits. But sometimes we can change it before it's too late. Sometimes we can reverse it. The body is so wonderfully made that in most cases it responds to the differences in our diet. We don't want to get to the point where how would I say it? Because I don't want to seem like all those people there are suffering as a result of their own choices. That's not true. There are several things that can impact a person, but whatever it is, if we can change it, we need to change it now. We don't need to. And for those who made wrong choices, my heart still goes out to them, because they still have to rely on people to help, maneuver their lives from day to day. And it is sort of sad. It's sort of sad that people are missing limbs and stuff from when they were in the military, And they came back. And you know what, some people, one person told me, he said, I wish I was dead. He said, I tried to kill myself. Because what good am I like this? And I, in response, told him that God has a plan for everybody. You know what the evidence of that is? Every day we wake up and we take a breath. We take a breath by the mercies of God. By His grace, we breathe. It's by God's grace alone that we awake, that we wake up every day to a new day, to a new purpose, to a new chance. And a lot of them feel like they're thrown away. But even in their situation, God has a purpose for them. That even through their sufferings, God can give them joy. Even through our sufferings, God gives us joy. We just have to choose to trust Him. We have to choose to rely on Him. We have to choose to know that no matter what happens, God already knows the ending. He knows how the story ends. You know, it's like when you're so excited about a movie, you get a DVD and you fast forward it right to the end or near the end, because at one point it looks like your hero isn't going to survive. That you wasted your $8. Well, it's like 20 something now. I buy them a couple of months after. That you wasted all that money and your hero isn't going to survive it. So you cheat a little bit. You fast forward to the end of the movie, and to your relief, some type of way, your hero made it through. I mean, even though it was dark at one time, and you know, the movie, the situation was throwing everything at this person. And the only thing you could think, man, I could have been eating something different. I could have wasted my money on something else. And then when you see the end of the movie, you're like, oh, wow. Let me see what happened in between and what he overcame. Because I know he survived it. Let me see how he survived it. And see, that's just it. God already knows how it ends. And we know how it ends too. Because the Bible says that John saw a number which no man can number. And it also says that these are they that overcame by the testimony of Jesus Christ and His blood. So we know we're victorious. No, we don't know what we're going through. And I'm pretty sure sometimes you might feel that you can't make it through this trial, that you're not going to survive this situation. And then you fall on your knees. You know what I've witnessed through visiting this long-term care facility? That most of the people, they can't help but rely on the staff and nursing. And some of them are very grateful. You know that although these people are getting paid, it is a hard job. It's a hard job to deal with insults from people that you know that need your help, yet they're insulting you. We do God that too. We throw stuff in His face. We make demands. We tell Him how to do His job. You know, but in the end, God stands clear. His word comes true. Because God isn't like us. He doesn't lie. If He says He's going to do something, He's going to do it. We just have to have the faith We have to pray and ask God to increase our faith, to help us believe that He is who He says He is, and He's capable of doing what He says He can do. Well, let me get back to the story. My heart goes out to our elderly, because like a baby that can't help themselves, they're so different from that, because most of them have accomplished everything that they could accomplish, and some of them everything they wanted to accomplish, only to be brought to a state where you feel you can't accomplish anything else. But they're so wrong. God is still on His throne, and He is still able to do exceedingly above everything we hope and wish for. God wants to work a work through you, through your parents, through their parents. Every Sabbath, there's this old couple that comes in, and this guy, he's barely walking, hunched over with a cane, and the wife is has a little more motion in her body, so she's holding his hand, helping him through it little by little. I mean, these people have to be in their 80s, but bless their heart, they haven't given up on life. They haven't given up on one another, and they haven't given up on God. Because they know even in their old age, that God has a plan and a purpose for them. You know, and like I was telling them today at the Bible study, I said, you know, God says, if your mother and your father forsake you, you know, people might not be coming and visit them. And there are some that I never see visitors. And I'm there every other day. Well, as a current. And my heart goes out to them. I make a special point to talk to them. Not that I feel sorry for them, because initially I might have, but now I consider them my friends. When I go there, I know most of their names. And I make a special point to speak to them, and they make a special point to speak back. And some of them, if they're in a good mood, they'll have a conversation, give me a little tidbits about their lives. You know, and they have all these stories, these wonderful stories to tell. These accomplishments, these, pedestals in their life that they achieved. And it excites me. It's like reliving a novel through their eyes. Older people are full of wisdom, full of stories, and full of hope. They just want someone to respect them the way they were once before. And they want someone to acknowledge that God still has a purpose for them, and that they still can be useful. Well, that's it for tonight. I pray in our everyday dealings that when we approach the elderly, that we approach them with respect and dignity, because they've earned it. They've already lived the life that most of us have yet to live. And hopefully most of us will be able to live it, because kids are dying left and right from drugs, guns, violence. And these people have overcame all that to tell their story. But no one wants to hear it. No one wants to listen. So maybe this week we could take time just to hear their story. You never know. We might actually learn something. I did. And I still am. Good night.